Streamcast.
Ayo. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Streamcast. I am Proto Man and I'm joined by
Hassan. You know him, you love him. I'm a sick gamer. I love.
Shut up. All right. So
I did it. Yes, I got kicked.
okay. So we are joined by very special guests. We've been fortunate enough to work with them a couple of times before, and now we've got them on our podcast. Please welcome a sweet melting pot of all things nerdy, Hassan and Ram, 2/3 of the Nerd Alternative.
Hey guys.
Hello. I'm Tingle and ready to mingle, and I'm here to say Isaac for Streamcast president.
Please kick him out for that. That just made like a shiver run through my spine.
Oh, it's
I
so
don't
good.
associate with you anymore, Hassan. I was just gonna say I'm Ram and that's it, but okay.
The sensible one.
I'm
Okay.
back.
It's funny you say that, Hassan, because Rams, you're Tingle and ready to mingle, and Rams got a jingle for us.
I do not have a jingle for anybody.
Okay.
It was so good, Ram.
It was really
You
good.
can listen to it after privately, but
Okay, cool.
And
it
then-
cannot live on the internet.
Can we link it
You
in the
guys aren't ready.
description? of the-
Yeah, we'll
You
put
guys
a
aren't ready
post
for
link.
Ram's mixtape. It's gonna be.
I'm
I mean,
ready.
I think I have potential.
I'm here
We
for
all
it.
believe in you. We all believe in you.
Mm.
So, the Nerd Alternative, one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. You're out here, Black British nerds out here making a space for yourselves and other cool Black people. Tell us a little bit about how you got to know each other and where the idea of let's go into content creation, let's make a podcast came from.
Ram, do you wanna take this? Because I think you got the ball rolling.
Yeah, I feel like, well, so Levi and I were together for like, I don't know how many other years at this point. And he was talking about like wanting to do a podcast. And it's actually quite weird because I think that was around the time that he was listening to the Nerd Council, Streamcast, and then also Blurred Up, which are like our favorite podcasts. And I think like, yeah, he kind of was just like, yeah, like I'm thinking about like doing something similar to that. But he wasn't really sure about like who to set up with, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I feel like I am a nerd, but I don't know how much like not experience, but I felt like I was more like a movie person as opposed to games person. But we were like, oh wait, actually that's like a nice bridge. Like we could talk about everything. And then we were like, okay, well, it's not just going to be us two because I don't know, that would be weird. And I knew Hassan from work when we worked at H&M. So I was like, oh, Hassan, yeah, me and my boyfriend are thinking of doing a podcast. Do you want to join? And then he was like, yeah. And then, wow, here we are.
The rest is history.
Yeah. There was a lot of talking before we actually like sat down to record stuff. But I think that's like what made it like I feel like our podcast is just us chatting. And I think that really long like talking period was like a good sense of like all the personalities in the room and like what everyone's like expertise are. You'll notice I'm very quiet during gaming episodes because I don't know anything, but like, you know, there's a lot of like learning and stuff. So yeah, that's the general journey.
That's wonderful. And I think the fact that you can just blend and weave into between different nerdy topics so easily makes it special. That's your USP almost.
No, I think you're in a really great position, Ram, because like all these great games that myself, that Levi, that Hassan, that Andy knows, like you just all of them at like your fingertips, and you can just pick anything you want. I'd love to play God of War again or Horizon.
I mean, that's literally what I'm doing right now.
Hey,
I God of War like 3 days ago.
Nice.
Nice. How are you finding it so far?
Different. I don't know. I think I'm trying to get over this thing where like I'm not Gen Z. I am a millennial, but I do have like the Gen Z tendency of like if I'm not good at something straight away, I don't want to do it. And so like I think I'm trying to get like games have been helping me get over that. So it's been a little bit challenging, but I've never played a game like that where it feels like there's no like break in the narrative, which is super interesting. And just like I'm like very, very much in the beginning, but I am really enjoying it. It's just like I'm not getting frustrated when I can't beat like a troll or something. So, apart from that, it's great.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear you're enjoying it. I think that is definitely something that's synonymous with gaming. Not being good at something at first, but then having to get good at something, whether it's through grinding, through repetitive action, or looking up stuff online and then incorporating that into your gameplay. Why are you laughing, Hassan?
I'm laughing because like the amount of times I've had to build like conspiracy boards for certain games just to like remember. Like Stardew Valley is like a perfect example of that, where you have to like know how long certain things take to grow, what seasons things are going to come in, when there's like quests to try and like get friendship with people, and you're like, how am I going to source this thing? And you're like, I'm not actually enjoying a game, I'm building a spreadsheet. What am I doing with my life?
I do spreadsheets sometimes. Sometimes it's like I think it's fun sometimes.
Sometimes, but then you're like, it's 4 a.m. and I've done nothing but build the most intricate spreadsheet about a game I'm not enjoying right now. Like that's
what I'm hearing. Exactly.
Sorry.
What I'm also hearing is transferable skills for the workplace that pays high amounts of cash.
I'll tell myself that as I cry myself to sleep.
Just use all the money that you're making to.
Well, I know that you have definitely played quite a few games, and I'd like to see what your favorite game is at the moment. So we'll start with you, Hassan. What's your favorite game?
I've got a few. I think we've like talked about kind of how difficult it is to nail down one favorite game or one best game, because like how wide the scope gaming can be. 2 games that are like 3 games that are very formative for me, that I think are formative for like a lot of people. The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening is one of the games that like originally made me go, oh, I'm a gamer and I'm always gonna do this. I love this. This is like such a fascinating and beautiful world that I just wanted to like immerse myself in as much as possible, like back on the old Game Boy. It kind of introduced me to the world like adventure games, and like how much of like a transportive like thing gaming could be, because like before they were playing stuff like Mario and it's like it's fun and like you can kind of speed run and that kind of stuff, but like I wasn't like, oh my god, I'm this little swordsman fighting my way through a dungeon. The next game on my list I would say is Morrowind. Again, elevating the RPG experience and just kind of opening up this whole new world of what gaming and storytelling could be, and introducing me to like how quickly I can break games and just get outside of the scope of what I should be doing. Like I think that like awakened another hunger in my kind of like gaming and what I loved about gaming. The third one I would say like a formative game would be Halo. When the OG Xbox came out, I was like, firstly, finally I can have a controller that fits my giganto hands. Like, and that was the first step. And then secondly, I was like playing Halo with my brother, and I remember us finishing the game in a day and then going, oh god, we're just gonna keep playing this game. And like we played it until like the CD broke. Like I love OG Halo so much. That game is fantastic. It's aged. Like for sure it's aged. But it's got such a magical place in my heart. Like love it.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's a nice array of games as well. Ram, how about you?
I keep saying I don't play a lot of games, but I do actually have a lot of games that I think are my favorite. I don't think I can pick one. I'm gonna try and do 3.
Hassan did like 3 or 4. So
yeah, Hassan's already cheated. So do what you like.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do 4 for different reasons. I feel like in my new gaming era, I'll probably say like Breath of the Wild, just because I think first of all it was like one of the first games that I played on my Switch. We're not going to talk about Celeste, but anyway, it was one of the first games that I played on my Switch, and I think it just really taught me, like it's fine to die, it's fine not to be good at the game, but also just in terms of like how you solve the puzzles and the fact that I would go online and someone's done like solved that puzzle in a completely different way to me, just really like I think for me just really was like you can just do your own thing. And I think yeah, it kind of made me get over the whole like dying doesn't mean failure thing. It just means that like you've tried something out and it didn't work, you took a risk, but like, you know, you're gonna get back. It's not real life. You're gonna get back up and you're gonna keep going. So I think that's one. And also just like the vastness of the world really just got my brain tingling. And I think Fable is probably like Fable 2 and 3, I'd say. I think that for like nostalgia reasons as well. Like me, I didn't really play that many games when I was younger, but my brother, like I convinced my mum to get my brother an Xbox. I feel like that's what we played on. Because I'm a good big sister, but also I wanted to live through him. And we played Fable, like he was a bit too young to play it. So I'd do like a playthrough and then he'd do a playthrough where he learned from all of my mistakes. Like you get to the end of the game and you realize you have this massive debt that you need to pay off. Whereas like, you know, he was able to learn that like, maybe let's start collecting the money first, and then by the time we get to the end of the game, it's all fine. So I feel like that was another one, and it was like just a good bonding experience for us. And then I'm gonna say The Sims, because that has been a staple in my life for forever. And I think with that game, it's just like I'm a massive fangirl. Like anything that I'm playing or reading, I will be watching like YouTube videos about that subject. And I think The Sims is kind of like the first game that like I was able to like, I know how to customize my game. Like it was very, in terms of like representation as well, of just being able to create a character that looks completely like you. Especially like as much as Sims 4 has a lot of its issues, like the stuff that they've been doing in terms of like skin tones and hair representation and all that stuff has been fantastic. And even though I get annoyed by it, like I always go back to it. It's just like a fun game. Even though my Sims live like the most blissful, least problematic lives, and I should probably spice it up a little bit, but you know, like
start a fire or two. What
yeah,
what's the worst that can happen?
I did used to sometimes in Sims 2 I did sometimes drown people. But no, within good reasons. Like sometimes I would just get away with like having big families, but like in Sims 2 it's just not sustainable to have like 8 Sim families. So sometimes someone would be in the pool and I would just take away the ladder and they couldn't get out. And then it was like, oh, like, you know, at least you could do like a funeral or something.
I start one cult in Animal Crossing and I'm the villain. Like that's...
Yeah, but this is like just everyone does this. So I feel like it's not that bad. But anyway, moving on. And I think my last game, I feel like I can't come back from that now. Like, everyone does it. Or everyone did it.
I did it. For sure.
I didn't.
Yes, the politician's defense. Everyone does it.
Sometimes it's necessary.
There is legitimately
Okay, I
so
remember
much.
the first time it did happen by accident. I just didn't understand how the game worked.
That makes it okay. It was an axe of
Yeah,
just a game.
Yeah,
that's what serial killers say. That's like
well, I mean,
You know that scene in American Psycho where he's talking to William Dafoe? Like, oh.
Well, anyway, you know what? I have a defense, but I'm not taking it back. I said what I said.
No,
I would like to hear the defense, please.
Yeah, I love it. Actually,
I don't think that hole is deep enough.
Yeah, this is democracy. Yeah,
I was new to the game, and you know, Sims 2 is a lot more challenging than Sims 4. You can't just be like making a massive family and expect to look after all their needs. So really, it was more like euthanasia because I couldn't look after everyone.
Ram,
So
give us a shovel.
sometimes
Give us a shovel. Just
company-
please.
Hold on. Let her finish. Let her finish. The pitchforks are coming.
No.
with like
Hold on,
a
Rab, I got your
family
back.
of 6 with loads of toddlers. Like it is so difficult, and they're so fussy. They're so dumb sometimes, and yeah.
The
was
toddlers
very
are so dumb sometimes.
No, not the toddlers. You can't kill toddlers.
Okay, well, I mean, because you tried.
That's why they're
You
not there.
tried.
Yeah.
I would have killed toddlers. They got their whole life ahead of them. It was
I
just like
would've-
people who were dying quickly enough for me.
I would defend my my
You
my
like that.
colleague.
I mean,
In The Sims, you're gonna often get yourself into a position where you build a house, or you build like a community, or you build like a family, where some people just need to get got, and like drowning is the ethical and most sustainable way to get them got without destroying your property.
Also-
That is
also-
the right way to do it. That's what I'm saying.
I feel like, you know, not everyone can die of old age, and it spices up the story a bit. You know, in Sims 4 now, we have loads of mods. There are different deaths. You know, like, you can get electrocuted, but back in the we just didn't have that. So, you know, it's realism. That's my defense, actually. It's realism.
It's sustainable.
So for audio,
I
listeners-
probably would have been the person who drowned in the pool. I can't swim properly, so
I'm dying.
for everyone listening on the audio platforms, Isaac has literally left the room. He slammed his headphones and walked out.
I'm a really nice person.
Okay, I want this on record, right? Isaac, pick up The Sims and play The Sims.
The Sims
You
2.
tell me- yeah, The Sims 2.
2.
And then,
Not the Sims 4. Awesome.
and then you tell us how long until you started drowning people, because I'm 1,000,000% sure you're going to drown some Sims.
I mean,
Also, it's a running thing in The Sims 4 that every time they introduce a new pack, there's a new death. So they want us to find new ways of killing people. I don't do it anymore because I'm a lot better of a Sims player. The game is not as challenging, but I'm just saying there's a whole community behind it.
You know what?
Yeah.
My favorite thing is that Hassan says something somewhat decent, and then Ram says something that makes it so much worse.
I'm just saying the truth.
It's an alien territory for me to be de-escalating situations.
Honestly, I'm quite
Actually
scared.
weird. It's usually the other way around.
Yeah, like
We've not talked about things at length before. So.
my client would like to say that that this was an accident and this is manslaughter and not
It was manslaughter the first time. Sorry. I didn't do it that often, okay? I'm gonna stop talking now. I'm gonna stop talking.
No, please,
Anyway.
this is great content.
yeah, I
This
think
is,
so.
man, this is great content.
No, I
And-
should have started with Sims and then gone through the rest of them.
maybe.
I mean, I have the last game, which is Mass Effect, because that was great. And I loved it so much that it was in my dissertation. So
Oh,
Nice.
that's very interesting.
Oh,
What was your
yeah.
dissertation? What was your title?
okay, it's complicated. So for my master's, I went to a drama school where I wrote a play, but it was a play about like Black people in space, essentially, where this woman was like a space explorer, and she was battling with the fact that she's gonna go and like colonize a planet for humanity, essentially, and she's battling with the fact of like, as a Black woman, can I do this, knowing what European people did to Africa, blah blah blah, loads of other things, and then I just included like the things that influenced me while I was writing that play, and Mass Effect being one of them. Of like, because obviously I customized Shepard to look like me, a lot of the decisions that I made during the game were reflecting my experience as a Black woman. So how I treated like aliens or whatever. I love sci-fi, and I've kind of been falling out of love with sci-fi, but like I think Mass Effect kind of was like, oh yeah, this is why I like it.
Oh, that's genuinely fascinating. I would love to read your play, or I don't know, consume it if you still have it. It's a real novel idea, Black people in space. It's a shame that no one's ever done it before.
I'm glad I ended up that because now everyone could just forget about the Sims thing.
Oh no,
I
we're
will
not
make it my
forgetting that.
mission
We're
that will
not
never
forgetting
happen.
Never forget.
So
Ram, if there's anything I've tried to teach you in our career podcasting together is live your truth. If you're gonna do some
I
crazy ass
wouldn't live
shit,
my truth. I'm just saying, that is one facet of my personality. It's not everything.
Killing babies.
I didn't kill babies.
not for lack of trying.
No.
Isaac, you guys both play games like Sekiro and Dark Souls.
But not killing
where there's, like,
babies.
Bloodborne, there is like the orphan of Cos who swings like a aborted fetus.
Oh
Hey.
my
Yeah,
Hey,
that
it's a woman's right, okay? That's fine. We got to be better than America, okay?
you got me.
That bar is
You got
no.
me.
Hey.
This is not what I thought today was going to be.
Not
I don't
at
think
all.
we're going to be battling over what constitutes manslaughter, but anyway.
It's an important distinction. As my client, I think you should stop digging this hole.
Okay, yeah, anyway, Mass Effect Station.
So obviously Mass Effect cool. The fact that I don't know how you could have sounded any more like a Tory when talking about your Sims experience. Just intentionally killing people. Talking about euthanasia with glee. Ensuring that just what's the term? Natural selection? Was that the one that was used?
No, it's
I never
putting
said
the-
that. That was not me. Maybe it was
putting the
Hassan.
youth back in euthanasia.
I didn't.
That was a good one.
It was old people.
That makes it fine. Yeah, they've lived their lives. Yeah, sure.
Oh,
Yeah, but
yeah.
sometimes just the counter, it was a bit like, and I was like, I don't have enough room in this house anymore. And anyway, I'm gonna stop looking.
Hold on, aren't you God in The Sims? Could you not just get
Yes.
another house?
Okay,
No,
but like, hold on. Look at the real world. Look at the real world.
Okay, yeah.
Life imitating art here.
Mm.
This is
So we're just drowning old people in the real world. That's what we're doing. Just let's go to all the old people's homes. Just bring a swimming pool and just chuck them in. That's what we're doing. No
That's
swimming
your
for
words, not
you,
mine.
Sally.
those are your words, not mine.
I mean, you said the real world, but anyway.
No, I'm just saying, like in the real world, like
Mhm.
I'm not gonna finish this point.
No.
Cool.
Say your truth, Sally.
Live your truth. Live your
Okay.
truth.
Okay, my truth is that this witch hunt is beneath both of you Dark Souls players. Is all I'm saying.
No.
Nothing's beneath us.
No. They're two different things.
Also, to take the heat off Ram a little bit, I really did like the Fable experience as well. That was kind of cool. And I like that the fact that you had to, I guess, recoup this massive debt after playing the game kind of just sounds like uni to me, or life. You go through your young days just using up resources, and when you become an adult, oh, you got bills to pay. Oh, you got this massive tax bill to pay back. So yeah, I guess it does kind of teach real life lessons in that regard. I've never played Fable, but it sounds like a really fun game, and it's got a cult following, so it must have done many things right. And quickly, Breath of the Wild. I think Dark Souls 3 was my moment when I realized death doesn't mean you're bad. It just means try something else. Because I struggled during Dark Souls 1 to Ghost of Tsushima. And it wasn't until the third game where I was like, okay, I know what this game wants me to do. I don't want to do it, but I need to complete this game. I need to finish it. So, yeah, I like the range of your games too. So let's move on from.
Ooh, let's not move on. I have
Okay.
follow-up question.
Go on, Isaac. Go
No,
on, Isaac.
they're quite nice. No, so like Graham, I don't understand. Like, you convinced your mum to buy your little brother a console that you wanted to play. Why don't you just convince your mum to get it for you?
Well, it was weird actually because I don't know. It's so weird because I feel like I had the potential to be a nerdier. No, I've always been a nerdy person, but just earlier in my life, I just feel like I was a bit stunted because my parents were kind of like, I don't think girls do that, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess they do.
Okay.
I think it's like when I had a little brother, I had someone to kind of mold. No, I'm joking. I slightly molded him, but that was like someone to like have these conversations with or whatever. And it was like he already wanted one anyway, and I was like, well, it's a plus because he's the youngest child, he's the only boy, so he's definitely gonna get it. I just need to be like, yeah, mom, this is what he wants, and then I get the like added benefit because he's a bit too young of like being like, oh, this is how you do stuff. So that was my eldest child thinking. But also I just really like giving in general. So like I always knew what my siblings wanted. So it was a mixed thing. Yeah.
That's so sweet. And because no one drowned you, you could treat your siblings. Lovely.
Yeah. I mean, no one's gonna drown me. I'm the oldest child.
Sure. Oh, so it is
That's
the
the
younger
only
one.
reason.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not doing it, obviously, when they're like adults.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Everyone learn to swim.
Learn to swim. You should. Come on, man.
Yeah.
No, I was taught to swim, but then I nearly drowned once. So now I've convinced myself. I'm just scared of water now. So I'm gonna learn again.
Nice. I'm gonna learn as well because I can't swim at the moment.
Terrible.
And Ram might kill me.
You are next.
Like, I mean, if Ram does, Ram will help you hide the body. It's fine.
I mean, you know what? In primary school, I was told that I could like get away with murder the most because I look really innocent. So maybe this is my start. I'm joking. I say nothing. Anyway.
You know what? This is going to be one of the best podcasts ever because I'm pretty sure Ram is just running off a rap sheet right now. All the crimes.
I would never actually murder anyone. Look, you haven't seen me watch a horror movie. I'm not capable of these things. I'm just saying someone else has said about me.
Again, I feel like this is the et tu brute moment where you guys play some games in some insane ways. Holier than that on your horses.
Hold on. What's happening here? What?
I'm just saying, Ram.
It's always in self-defense.
No, Ram is a gamer at heart, and I support Ram's decisions in games that give you the tools to do these. If those tools weren't available, if they didn't want us to do these things or to experiment scientifically, then they wouldn't be there. Like that's my thinking. And frankly, I think that this is the appropriate use of these tools, using them as robustly as possible.
That's what cheats and stuff for, you know.
Anyway, that's my case.
That's your case, honey. You know, there was a scientist once upon a time who, as a
don't even say it. I know where you're going and stop it.
Okay, yeah, all right. So I'm not having any of that.
I rest my case.
But on a lighter note, Ram, you said you loved sci-fi, so I think you should, if you want to, there's a book called Red Rising, and maybe just give that series a look into. You might enjoy it. It's pretty good, very heavily sci-fi. So, yeah, I
do need to read some more. So I've like fallen off slightly with book, but yeah, I do need to get back into it. So,
nice. What was the last sci-fi book you read?
I've been reading a lot of like comics and manga instead of like sci-fi, I guess. I don't know. I'm looking at my shelf. There's a lot of stuff that I haven't finished.
Saga, Descenders, maybe.
Saga's good.
Yeah, I've been reading Saga and it's finally back. Oh my god.
Wait, there's more.
Yeah, it's back. It's like it's come back. There's like 4 issues out now. Okay. So yeah, because they left that on a cliffhanger, and I literally remember it was like I remember I was at like someone's house, and they could hear me upstairs like no, because I knew that there was like no more, and they ended on such a cliffhanger. But yeah, I feel like I've been reading Descenders, Saga, but I've not really read any books, so I can't remember.
No, that's fair. Okay, thanks for that. I need to finish off Saga myself. But anyways, Andy, I'll let you finish.
So, as massive nerds, and Rami, you just mentioned comics and manga, that's where I want to go next. So, what have been your favorite manga, comics, anime to consume over the years, and why? Let's start with Ram this time.
Oh my god. I feel like I gotta like proper look at my shelf to be like, sorry, my phone's going off. I really like Claymore as a manga that I've like read recently. I think just because I've gotten to a stage now where I don't really like shonen that much. Not that I don't like it, but it's just quite like repetitive. It's a bit tropey. Like you just like you're like, this is cool, but how is it different from anything else? And even when you think it's different, you kind of just drop off because it just turns into a bit of a cliche. So I've been exploring more like genres, and I think Claymore was like, I was like, oh my god, this is like, first of all, there's like women in it. It's very different from anything I've ever read, but also you can see a lot of like the foundations that it set for things like Attack on Titan. There's a lot of influences in there, and a few other anime that I've not watched but have heard are a bit derivative of Claymore. So I've really enjoyed that series. In terms of comics, we already talked about Saga. That is like probably my favorite comic book series out there. I just really like the world building, but also just how it reminds me of like a lot of the reasons that people like Star Wars, of just feeling like there's this massive world and there's like so much story in it, but you're kind of focused on this like small family. And I think it's a bit more intimate than Star Wars is, because it's the story of this girl and her parents and the people along the way. And there's like kind of this like sense of, you know, where it's like headed, but you don't really know. And like, there's just a lot of like moving parts. And I think that's like super interesting. And all of the characters are really endearing in it. And then, did you say anime?
Yep.
I don't know what anime has really I guess I've had an on and off relationship with Attack on Titan, but I don't know how I feel about it anymore. Like I think it was like one of the first like animes that I watched when as an adult. And I was like, oh my god, this is so, I can't believe I found it scary when I first started watching it. I don't know what was wrong with me. I mean, it was kind of creepy, but I literally was like, oh my god. Whereas now, I don't know, the characters are just, it's so weird. It's such an interesting world, and like there's so much intrigue, but the characters are so annoying. But then I'm now at that stage where I kind of like that they're annoying, because I'm like, well, this is almost like the real world. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I'm reading, so it's kind of hard to like pin things down. But I guess in terms of like what I've been reading recently, I think those are the things that I would say. Something else is probably gonna pop up in my head, but I'll let Hassan.
Yeah, Hassan,
we do kind of like tick the same boxes a lot. Like think like Western comics. I tend to kind of like. I don't read like a huge amount, but like when I do, I kind of fall in the deep end. Things like Sandman and Hellblazer, and
No, I just said I do love Sandman. Sorry,
Sandman is so good. I tend not to have like as much of a robust knowledge on like Western comics. Like I do read a bit of Saga. I was reading Descenders. Descenders is very good. The art is beautiful. I tend to read more like manga. Some like the standout series that like I go back to every now and again are stuff like Mushishi. I can't recommend Mushishi enough. Like it is beautiful. It's like this anthology series about like these guys who can see like the spirit world that kind of interacts with the real world, and like how those spirits interact with people and trying to like untangle that world a bit. It's so good.
Sorry, Ellie, I'll just pause you there quickly. How do you spell Machichi?
Mushishi.
Okay,
Mushishi.
Cool. Okay. I searched Mashishi and it is wildly different.
Whoa, what have you seen?
like wildly different now.
So Machichi, what I searched, is apparently short, compact, tightly muscled gay Latinos with big chests and biceps.
That's so specific.
Yep, and I'm not gonna be clicking images. I'm gonna close that tab. Sorry, Hallie. Feel free to continue.
Well, that's making the final edit. Sorry,
that's need to.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm trying to think like other like mangas that like just kind of grip me. I think like for the most part, like I tend to like gravitate towards a lot of like the regular big anime and like manga. Animes that kind of like fall off the radar that people I like here don't really that they need more love. I would say stuff like Gintama. Like Gintama is one of the funniest anime. And like it's a crime that I don't hear more people kind of give it the accolades it really deserves. The last few years have been like brilliant for like the output of anime. There's been like some of my favorite shows like in a long time, like Ranking of Kings, exceeding the ending. Odd Taxi, which is I think everyone needs to watch. If you watch anime, you have to watch Odd Taxi. That show is phenomenal.
Odd Taxi.
Odd Taxi is great. That's another. I really love shows that like just make you like make your brain kind of just, especially with like Odd Taxi and Ranking of Kings. Actually, I think like they move away from a lot of that like shonen stuff, which there's nothing wrong with it because obviously like I love Jujutsu Kaisen and I want to feel hyped sometimes, but sometimes you just kind of want a story that's just a bit different and just fills you with like wonder. And I really like that.
Well, those are excellent picks from both of you. I definitely agree with your point about Shonen Ram. I think it's just very formulaic. And as you said, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just for a younger crowd who want that kind of formula. And there's nothing wrong with a bit of seinen. There's nothing wrong with a deeper story, something a bit darker. Isaac, I don't know if I've ever asked you this on the pod. How about you? What are your favorite anime, comics, and manga?
I think a lot of them just being said regardless. Saga, of course. I think do you know what? Saga always like not frustrates me, but so I borrowed a mate's volume 1, loved it so much that I bought 2 and 3. And then like, every time, I talk to people about it, I'm like, yeah, so great, blah, blah. And I'm like, do you know what? I should like read Saga again. And then I go to like, maybe start again because it's been a while. And I realize I don't have the first compendium. So I'm just like, what?
Yeah, sorry.
So carry on. I was just like, I keep leaving it, but I'm just gonna like bite the bullet and maybe watch a quick this is what happened and then just start on compendium 2. I'm really happy to hear that it's back, although I'm gonna wait for compendium 4 because I'm not a guy who likes waiting, so I don't think I can buy the small like issues and be okay with that. I need to just know that it's all there. So even though I don't finish it in one day, I know that tomorrow I'm finishing Saga. I want to start reading a lot more like graphic novels. I think on Reddit, like I follow the graphic novel like subreddit, and there are so many good ones. Like I think something. It's not Journey to the West, but it's something along those lines. But it's like I don't know. I can't remember what it is. There's Chainsaw Man that I do want to get started on. I've heard really good things about that. I think Lock and Key is meant to be good. There's like a Netflix adaptation, but I think I'd rather read than watch. Yeah,
there's 2 I kind of forgot that I really want to like shout out, and I think you'd like dig both of them. One is called Die,
like
and
DIE or
like like the multiple of dice. So
okay.
It's this these kids play a D&D game that transports them into the D&D world, and in the real world they go missing for 7 years. In the world they become their characters, and like one of the girls has like a robotic arm in the game, so when she comes back to the real world she's missing an arm. And it ruins their lives, like and the story picks up when they're like mid-30s and like kind of they live their lives, but they can't get past this point because one of the friends didn't come back with them, and they get sent like a D&D game. So they come back and they start playing and they get transported back into the D&D world. It's very good. It's very, very, very good.
It's Jumanji is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, but like a lot less Robin Williams.
Okay, yeah.
The other one is called Something is Killing the Children.
Ram.
This
I thought you said it.
This is one of the ones that like this surprised me how much I enjoyed it because it is technically a horror story, It's brilliant. So this little town, this like little sleepy town, like is getting terrorized by these creatures that are like picking off the kids first, because in this world, like kids can see the monsters, and adults kind of they grow out the ability to kind of see what's out there, kind of like bumping in the dark. And there's like a group of like monster hunters who like turn up in the town, and things go side. It's so good. I don't want to talk more about it. I just want you guys to go out there, get it, and read it, because it's great. Like, it's really good.
We'll give it a go then. Is there like, is it finished or is it still ongoing?
It's still ongoing.
Oh no! Why would you do
I
that
feel
to
like
me?
it's quite a few volumes in now. Yeah.
It's 6 volumes, I think.
Okay, okay, that might be doable. Like, you know what? Like, you don't want to just catch up and then be one of the dickheads that just have to wait like everyone else. You just want to like come into it and be like, yo, okay. Hey, I'm one of those dickheads with Saga as well.
Oh my god, painful.
But I guess, you know what, like people who, you know, stay up to date, like it's really important because it means the manga or graphic novel is popular and it will come out more and more often. So I hate being one of those people, but you know, when I am one of those people, I am supporting, so that's good. And you know, you guys who are supporting, like really well done. But it's just not a great place to be in when there's a cliffhanger and the writer goes on hiatus for like a year or 2 years, 3, or even like
Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Me with webtoons at the moment, it's very stressful.
Mm.
God, it's too much. But then it's also fun because it's like you have that thing to look forward to like every week where you're like, oh yeah, this thing like on Tuesday I'm like, yeah, Let's Play gets uploaded. So I don't know, it's kind of like a routine thing now almost. I think once you have like enough, like when you've got like a rotation of things that you're reading, it doesn't feel as bad. Whereas like I think before when I was just reading Saga and I was just waiting for it and that's it, like I just be like, oh well, what do I do now? Yeah.
This is how I feel about Brandon Sanderson. Like he's my favorite like fantasy author at the moment, but he does this thing where he like writes 4 different series at the same time, and then you'll wait for like you'll read the book and it'll be like, this is amazing, I want the next one in this series. Then he'll write an entirely new series and you'll be like, this is really good, I want the next one of this. And he'll write an entirely different series. By this point you've forgotten the first series exists, and then he'll write another series, then he'll write the sequel to the first one. It's like, come on. Just come on, dude.
But that's good though. Like, he makes you forget that you're missing like one book, and he replaces it with like a whole new world. Like, that seems like the best case scenario.
But then like 5 years later you pick up the second book in that first series and you're like, oh, I remember, I'm viscerally angry and I'm gonna wait again for another 5 years. That's the issue here. Still better than Patrick Rothfuss and waiting 10 years for this book 3 that's never gonna come out. Yeah, I said it, Patrick Rothfuss. Yeah, I said it.
Just tweet at him.
Yeah, exactly. Send him an email, send him a tweet, you know, could happen.
Send him a letter.
Please give me the book.
I mean, it's better than like Wattpad authors, but I used to be on Wattpad. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like a writing platform. Actually, you know what? I used to write stuff on there, and I am that author who just stopped writing. And like people still message me like, "Are you ever coming back?" But I feel like the worst thing about Wattpad is like you just don't know, like because it's just like some anonymous, like I don't know, 16-year-old girl writing whatever. Like there's a story that I really loved. And like, I don't know what has happened to this girl, but she's not uploaded for like 11 years. And people in our comments are like, are you okay? Just please let us know. It's like actually very tragic. So at least you know that, you know, they're alive and well.
Write to fanfic if you're okay.
I hope they come back because
I don't know.
What a saga.
Or yeah, see what you did there.
No, we'll not remove you for that one. Okay. Go on, Isaac.
I had a point, but oh yeah, you mentioned Brian Sanderson, and it just made me think. So I think he wrote this book. Have you read the Reckoner series then, Hallie?
Yes. Yeah.
Man, like I really enjoyed that book. Like I'm reading the book series now, and it's just up and down, and like they'll just get the plot will start like thickening, and then the next book comes along and it's just dry for like a good third of the book, and then I'm on the third book now, and I'm in too deep, and it's just so dry. And finally, it's gotten good, and I'm like, okay, I can actually finish. Oh, but Bryan Sanderson, like those books, those are good from like start to finish, in my opinion. I love them. I thought they were
He's
really
a
well done.
fantastic writer, man. He's so good.
100%.
The Way of King series, chef kiss.
Let's
He
write
did
that down.
this thing like recently. I say recently, I think it was like 3 years ago at this point, where he released like a series of short stories from all of like the worlds that he was writing in, linking all of his stories all into like a shared universe, and everything started to make sense. And it was like, oh, you son of a bitch! Like this
Wait, does Reckoners fit in there then? Because a lot of these stories look very different.
It's the Mistborn, it's the Elantris series, it's the Way of King series. There's another series that I am blanking on, but yeah, it's a bunch of his ones. It's the stuff that's fancy, not sci-fi.
Oh, that makes sense then. Okay, fair enough. Huh? I need to. Do you know what? Like I know this sounds really bad, but like I saw his books and they all have that white cover and they look the same. So I was just like, I'm not reading this. I don't know why. I'm just like, they're all the same, aren't they? But no.
Covers are important.
So you guys are
exactly.
you're judging a book on.
Yeah,
Finish it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Ali.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know why? Because I'm sick and tired of reading shit books, Hallie. Because they are an investment. So genuinely, sometimes you gotta wait for like a book to marinate and whatnot, and you gotta give it some grace period. But then when you're like 200 pages and you're like, why is nothing happening? Then you gotta be like, oh, do I keep going? Do I stop? I don't have time for that. So I've been burnt in the past. I need a good book cover. I need a good blurb, and I need at least one person to recommend it. I'm not asking for a lot.
I've been burnt so many times by good book covers. Like I read Annihilation because I had a cool cover, and I was like, "This is great. This is cool. This is interesting." Then I read book 2, and I was like, "I don't want to read or look at words again." Like I just.
I mean,
that was upsetting.
I feel like sometimes bad covers are good, because I remember the first Octavia Butler book I picked up. It had like the old timey, like her books are really hard to find in this country. So it had like, it was in a charity shop and it had like the old time, like, you know, you get those like weird sci-fi covers that just look, I don't know how to describe it, but they just look like something you don't want to read. But I was like, I can't think of you just have to look up Octavia Butler and try and find one of those old sci-fi, but it's like some of her books are like the best, like my favorite books ever. So I just don't read Fledgling.
Do you know what it is? It's like, you know, the Mills and Boons cover that are like aimed specifically at women.
Yes, that's what I was trying not to say. But
Basically.
The sci-fi books are Mills and Boons for boys, and it's hilarious. Like it's so funny.
Odd.
Oh, I hate these covers so much.
Yeah, see, they just make me really uncomfortable, and I'm like, I don't want to read this on the train. The new covers are nicer, but it's really hard to find her books in this country. So sometimes you just gotta have those old weird covers.
So like, I've seen Adult Rights, Bloodchild, Fledgling, Dawn, Bloodlands. I've seen 8. So do they like? Are they like a big series, or are they all separate books? They got the same art style. I'm just thinking, are they one world?
It's really weird actually, because I think in new prints they've kind of like, so for example, I think it's what's the series? There's like some of them are a series where it's like 4 short stories that kind of like, not short stories, but they interconnect. So for example, I think it's Dawn is like the first story is about a particular character, and you see that character in the rest of the series, but she's not the main character in all of those. So there's like 3 of them. I think Lilith's Brood is another one where there's like 2 stories, but like I think back in the day they had them split up into 4, whereas now they just publish it as one book.
That makes sense.
So it's kind of confusing.
And these are what genre? Did you say sci-fi?
I would say speculative fiction, because that's what she calls herself. But I feel like it's sick because she's like a Black female writer, and like she's just very cool. Like she has this book called Kindred that's about this woman who has to keep going back in time to essentially save the slave owner that's gonna cause her to exist in the future. Yeah, it's very
that's such a catch-22.
so like interesting because like the things that she learns about the person who is her like great-great-grandfather or whatever, like she basically goes back every time he's in danger, she gets pulled back into the past. And she doesn't really know why it's happening, and it kind of just explores that like weird dynamic that I suppose like children of slave masters had with, I don't know, it's very parts of it are very uncomfortable, but it's also just very interesting. She's a very provocative writer. So yeah, just don't read Fledgling because or don't read it first.
Okay.
I was like, oh yeah, Levi, you should read these like Octavia Butler books. So I had given Kinred to like one of my friends, and I had Fledgling. I was like, yeah, you should read this. And like when I read it at the time, it was uncomfortable, but I just kind of just let it just. I don't know if you've ever read like Lisa or like books like that. You just read it for what it is. But he actually couldn't stand it, and I was like, yeah. It is not I don't know.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Why is it a lot?
Just look up the blurb. It's just I don't know. There's a few uncomfortable things. Basically, it's about like black vampires essentially.
I'm in.
They're breeding like black vampires because they're like, oh, you guys are like gonna be immune to the sun or whatever, and it's the main
breeding us.
Well, not breeding. It's complicated. I don't know how to. Yeah. It
is a lot.
Yeah, that's all I can say. But then there's like a lot of weird like like obviously she's a vampire, but she looks like a child, but she's technically.
Oh, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
All of that business. So yeah.
Okay,
you can read it maybe, but don't read it.
No, I'll leave it. There are 7 other books at least. I'll read those.
Lilith's Brood is also a little bit weird, I'm not gonna lie, but not that kind of weird.
Good covers and good books. N.K. Jameson, always the two. Like N.K. Jameson is fantastic, and her book covers are chef kiss.
I don't know about the like. No, they're fine. Yeah, they're fine.
The Broken Earth trilogy are beautiful.
I think they're fine. I don't think they're beautiful book covers.
We're gonna fight on this outside of the recording.
I recognize the art. Okay.
Yeah, no, she is an amazing writer, and also like she's got a short stories collection called When Is Black Future Month, and it's very there's very interesting stories in there. And she writes very intersectionally. There we go.
Okay, I'm in. Yeah.
All right. So I know that Ram, you are involved with stuff in the film industry. I know you've interviewed a couple of really famous dudes. How did you get your foot in the door in that regard? And how has it been handling that alongside all the stuff that you do for Nerd Alternative?
A lot. I do this thing where like if I'm not busy, I'm not happy, but when I'm busy, I'm also not happy because I'm too busy. So it's like a weird balance. But I've always dabbled in like film and theater. Like I've kind of not really known where exactly I didn't know whether I wanted to perform, and then I realized I didn't want to do that, and then I was like, oh, maybe I want to get into writing, maybe I want to get into the production side of things. So during my gap year, I did a film program with the BFI, who's the British Film Institute, and their like young people's program is very like they're really good at keeping in touch. So like once you've done one of their programs, they're always like, oh, we're doing this next, we're doing this next, blah blah blah. And when was it last year? Last year they had a young programmers course, which is like 16 to 25. And I was like, I'm 25, so I'm going to do this because I'm not going to get the chance to do it again. And it's just this really sick program where you get to kind of look at film from more of the like programming angle. So like when the BFI curates like a season of events, what kind of films that they put on, or like I was involved in the London Film Festival. So it was like putting on events for young people to come to that were focused around like specific themes and stuff. Got to interview Edgar Wright, which was the highlight of last year, which was amazing, and like goes to like film premieres and stuff. But I forgot what the question was. I was like, I know it's film related. I'm talking about, yeah.
I mean, yeah, you've answered it, but it was how you got into the film industry, and how it's been balancing that and the rest of Nerd Alternative. So I think you answered it.
Yeah, that's how I got into the film industry, and then balancing it with the Nerd Alternative. It's been kind of weird because I think in some ways, like it made, like I think when we talk about like film reviews and stuff, that's been like helpful in terms of like doing, like figuring out the structure of like how we review movies and stuff and what kind of movies that we review. Like I think we've like branched out a lot more than at the beginning, if that makes sense. But yeah, it was kind of tough. There was like a lot going on because I was also still working full time and also still doing my master's. So it was just every day was just doing something. So it was a lot, but I think they were all things that I really enjoyed. So it didn't feel that stressful until I stopped doing all of that, and then I had severe burnout for a really long time.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just now recovering from it, but yeah, there's a lot.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that you are over your burnout, and congrats on getting your master's. That was wavy. Hallie, I know that you're the indie game king. How did you get into indie gaming? What was the game that was like, you know what, I want to give the AAAs a backseat? And what's been your favorite indie darling?
Was it Stickman fighting?
You know what? Like, it is Flash gaming that kicked off my love of indie games. If you remember a game called The Binding of Isaac, it was like it originally was a browser-based game by the studio called Edmund Macmillan, which they then made into a console game, and they've made it kind of the iterations have kind of continued until this generation. It is, I think it's the single game that I've put the most amount of time into. I absolutely adore that game, and it showed me that games didn't have to be fantasy or shooty. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's such a weirdly specific game that if you haven't played it, it's going to sound insane to describe to you. You sort I can't explain it without it sounding horrifying.
Please do.
You play as Isaac, this boy who is running away from his mother, who's suffering from religious mania, and thinks she has to sacrifice him like Isaac in the Bible. It's a lot. But it's a roguelike dungeon crawler. So you're progressing through this dungeon where all the items are like gross and kind of childish, and like it really reflects like Edmund Macmillan talks about, like how it reflects like his battle with Catholicism and his childhood. It's such a good game, and like mechanically it's fantastic. Like every run feels different, and like learning all like the best synergies and all that kind of stuff is beautiful. I love that game. It made me stop and kind of think, okay, if this game can be this weird and specific and fantastic, like what else can be? It helped me kind of break out the shell of going, oh, I'm a boy, I'm just going to play fighting games or shooting games or like action games. Kind of going into stuff like Stardew, or like challenging what my perceptions of fun could be in the gaming space, or creativity could be in the gaming space. Another good example of this, and like one of the games that's in my top 3 of all time, is Journey. You don't find anything in Journey. It is just a beautiful, cathartic journey to this mountaintop. There's not a word of dialogue through this whole thing, but it conveys such a sense of direction and momentum and emotion through the movement, and maybe one of the greatest soundtracks in gaming. It's, if you haven't played it, it's like 2 hours. It's one of the best experiences you'll ever have in gaming. Finding those moments is what kind of draws me to want to search out more indie games. And I you guys see me kind of like scream into the void about like all the bad things about the the gaming scene at the moment, like all the kind of horrible abuses and crunch and that kind of stuff. What made me start writing like the short reviews about like indie games and stuff was indie games bring me such joy, and I want to share that joy with other people. And I know that indie games don't get a lot of time or space to kind of be seen by people who could be super receptive to it. So I want to do like a little bit to show some people kind of like the joys and fun that they can find in these wonderful pieces of art.
Very well said. And I love those Twitter reviews. I love those Twitter threads of the indie games. So when are they coming back?
We just did Moonglow Bay. I don't know from the time of release when it's gonna go up, but I'm gonna do Stray, the little cat game.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's coming out on a Tuesday, so I'm going to see if I can like not sleep and finish that game before the weekend and get a solid review up done as well.
Good luck.
Like, one of the things like not sleeping, like I love about it is that I can finish a game in a week and get review done. I'm like, that's oof.
It sounds very unhealthy though. Okay, cool. Sorry, Ram, what was that?
No, I'm remembering the time that he was like, yeah, I finished Eastwood, and I was like, I was like, what do you mean you finished it? Like, wow, I'm still playing it. But anyway, it's fine.
you told me about it the week before, and I was like, oh, this seems like
Literally,
my bag.
I finished it. I was like, I have not finished it, but that's fine.
To round up this pod, I would like one game from each of you. What game are you most looking forward to that's coming out before the end of 2022? We'll start with Isaac.
Oh, that's not fair. Pause.
What?
Pause.
Is this never been done?
Like,
Is this a new thing?
It's not an option.
No.
I guess I'll just go with the cop-out answer. Maybe God of War. I don't know if I'm gonna buy it. Just got lots of games that I need to play first before I find something new. But yeah, I guess I'll just stick to God of War for now because I'm invested. So it'd be nice to see what they do with it. Yay, God of War.
Hassan, how about you?
Bit of a curveball. Slime Rancher 2.
Okay.
I really enjoy Slime Rancher 1. That game is weirdly meditative. Like, if you haven't played it, you collect slimes, you breed slimes, you kind of use the plots that they make to make money and kind of build like a bigger ranch. If you like farming games and those kind of games, it's very much going to be your bag. The second game is out, I think, October or November, but I'm very excited for that. I'm also super excited for Pokemon. Like, super excited for Pokemon.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. When is Slime Rancher 2 coming?
I'm not 100% sure they've got like a solid date, but they said like the end of the year.
Okay. All right. Cool. Ram, how about you?
Yeah, my backlog is very crazy, and I'm just catching up to games that I should have played like years ago. So I don't know that. Actually, The Sims is coming out with an expansion pack that's coming out at the end of this month. That is about high school years, and I have not played Sims for a really long time. Not a really long time. That's a lie. I've been playing it recently, but like I haven't been playing it like the way that I used to. But
Yeah,
I'm
okay,
just
okay.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't kill people in Sims 4 again. I was very upset when one of my Sims died of hysteria, like just randomly. So I'm very invested in these Sims. The game is like a lot easier. So I'm no longer. I'm reformed. I'm not mad.
He's born again.
Born again Simmer.
Did you say sinner or simmer?
Yes.
Hassan.
I hope you
Yes.
said Simba because otherwise, yeah, I was gonna say I'd be disappointed.
He said simmer, and Harry has peaked at this point. I don't know if you're beating that. And with that, we'll close. Thank you so much for joining us, both Hassan
Whoa,
and Ram.
pause.
What?
What about yours, Andy?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a good question. I think I'm going to say Ragnarok, just because I've already pre-ordered it. It's the game that, without even thinking, I'm most excited about. There are others on that list as well. So Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I'm very excited about as well. Gotham Knights has got me. I don't know if I'm actually going to buy it, because the more I see of the game, the less I like it.
Mm. High on Life is coming out as well. The game by Justin Roiland and like the Squanch guys.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah.
I probably won't get that. But yeah, that's a cool game as well. I think I had something else, but I can't remember it. So yeah, just those three. But out of all of those, God of War Ragnarok, by far, I want to finish the Norse saga. I want to find out what happened and see just how it interconnects with the Greek saga, because they promised that it's not a reboot, it's a continuation. So I want to see how they bridge that gap.
With a boat, probably.
Sorry. Why is that the thing that makes me anyway?
Thanks, Hattie. So I think with that we'll close out. Thanks again, Nerd Alternative. Please feel free to shout out where the people can follow you, where they can find you, what's in the pipeline.
Okay. You can find us at the Nerd Alternative with the E on Instagram. You can find us at the Nerd Alternative without the E on Twitter. You can listen to us on Spotify, Podchaser, Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google, anywhere you can listen to podcasts. We have a fledgling YouTube channel as well with a couple of videos up on there. Apart from that, we do the weekly game breakdowns on our Twitter. So if you're looking for like an interesting game to play over a weekend, come check out our review threads. Ram, am I missing anything?
No, I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah, please leave us a rate, review, all that kind of jazz. Shoot us an email. Just chat to me on Twitter. Yeah.
Delightful. And you can keep up with the Streamcast with Streamcast_ on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you are watching this podcast, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Streamcast. Tap the bell, set it to all, so you get all the videos as soon as they come out. We have a Twitch channel, Streamcast TV. We stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays in the evening. Just finished Sekiro, so I'm really happy I don't have to play that game ever again. And we have a website, thestreamcast.co.uk, and our podcast is available on Spotify, Apple, Sounder, and many more podcasting platforms. So just search Streamcast and follow and listen. But until the next Streamcast, please take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Stay safe, and we'll see you on the next Streamcast.